Top stories for today consist of Toxic Men, a history in video gaming, as well as a Slowpoke Festival and some updates to Fortnite, along with a couple other news stories you're going to want to stay tuned to learn about, all in today's episode of News You Missed, the Video Game Show that recaps what happened in the video game industry this week that might be important to you and the video game industry at large. Now, before I jump into all that, I just want to make mention of one thing. A lot of people always comment on my shirts. Today I'm wearing a Pac-Man shirt. I get my shirts from a numerous amount of places, from Walmart to the mall, but one place in particular that's really great is the shirt store I have set up for the community. This is where a lot of people have made community submissions, and people in the video gaming industry themselves, whether it be on YouTube or just on Twitter as an artist of some sort, make their own little designs over on my community shirt store. They come from all walks of life, all areas, people who are big Pokemon gamers or love Zelda or Mario or other video games as well. If you're looking for some new shirts, you should definitely check it out because there's a number of awesome designs over there. I get a kickback, you get new threads, and you're looking great for summer along with the back to school season. So make sure to look fresh for that. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's jump right into the news, and I want to kick off things with good old Pokemon Go and Pokemon itself having a Slowpoke Festival over in Japan in August. Now, the reason I say this, I usually don't cover Japan exclusive things, but this is something that's probably going to stay in Japan, but trickle over here to America and other countries as well. It's basically celebrating Slowpoke's original name, and it's going to be celebrating it with a lot of different things, but one of the funniest things is that it's celebrating it with udon and yadon. These are types of noodles that they sell in Japan that are kind of going to be Slowpoke themed. I mean, I guess they're just noodles, but I mean, the packaging looks amazing. It looks awesome. It looks hilarious. Slowpoke's awesome, and they do celebrate it. It's going to be amazing. It's the 30th anniversary of the Seto Bridge, which connects various islands as well, so there's a lot of history behind that. The Pokemon Center is going to be selling some interesting, unique things. There's going to be Slowpoke greetings, so I think that's really cool that Japan does that. Really wish my country would do that, but I guess, you know, gaming's a little bit different over here than it is in Japan. We also have some daily deals over on IGN that is, I have to point this out. One, you guys need to make sure to pre-order the Hori D-Pad Joy-Con. This is a Joy-Con with a very special D-Pad added to it. But if you actually take the pre-order link, it takes you to an Amazon listing of the Hori D-Pad controller. But I don't know, for whatever reason, it's a little bit messed up because the previews show paw prints on the wall. Yeah, I'm not sure who screwed the pooch on that. It seems to be on Amazon's side because this is definitely a Hori listing and it's in video game accessories, so yeah, they'll fix it eventually. Just be aware of where you're pre-ordering it from. Also, Nintendo Switch is getting some sweet GameCube-style controllers. These controllers look awesome, and they're probably just made to support Super Smash Bros. More than anything else. There's going to be a Mario and a Zelda and, of course, a Pikachu one. I'm interested in the fact that there's not going to be a Metroid one. That's very odd to me. Or a Star Fox or something like that. This is probably going to be a test and will be expanded way later on when Smash Bros. Launches, so we'll see what happens. Also, there's a new Nintendo Labo kit, and it's about vehicles. It shows that there's kind of a fly game that you're going to be able to use, the kind of steering wheel column that you're going to build out of cardboard. And apparently, of course, you can use another Joy-Con to share the fun and have a co-pilot with. So there you go. If you're in the Nintendo Labo, you can get a vehicle kit. There's a Fortnite updates as well, weekly challenges, clay pigeon locations, as well as Flush Factory treasure map. So if you guys play Fortnite, make sure to check that out. But there's also a massive update that adds guided missiles back, and they're going to be less likely to dominate. The reason for this is the developer stated that there's a lot of explosives that you can use in Fortnite, and a lot of them are more straightforward and to the point and a lot more useful. So they've decided to change it around and mess with it, and now it's more of like a drone or a scouting tool than an actual viable option to use against enemies. That's what they said, and that's why they said that they did what they did. The momentum speed, the turning radius, damage, and damage radius is much lower. The ammo cap is now 12, so basically you can't just shoot them, you know, unstoppable and just boom, 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 you know what I'm saying? There you go, ladies and gentlemen. If you're interested in that and you play Fortnite, be aware of that before you run out and get a guided missile and say, oh man, I'm dominate and win. You might not. EA Origin has quietly removed their On the House program. What happened this year with EA? They had the loot box fiasco that essentially destroyed loot boxes for the industry. And they're still one of the most hated companies to work for, shutting down numerous industries, as well as having developers saying that Mass Effect, the more recent Mass Effect game, had failed because of Zelda, among other excuses for why their games just aren't as good as they once were. And now they're removing the program that allows you to get free games. And they weren't anything amazing. The games were pretty decent, but when I say decent, they weren't really more expensive than $5 to $10 a piece. I mean, you could get games like Red Alert 2, Dungeon Keeper, Jade Empire, Mass Effect 2, Medal of Honor, Need for Speed. These were all free games that they did give away. But again, they weren't over $5 to $10, so they removed that program. So why? We have programs on the Xbox side, on the PlayStation side. There's games over on GOG. There's Humble Bundle. They all give away games here and there periodically. Even Steam gives away games, and Origin decides, time to get rid of theirs because EA, whatever reason, wanted to get rid of it. Maybe they're implementing a new program, but I highly doubt that. That's really, really crappy. You can see the post over on r/games. That's good old Reddit. So I don't really promote Reddit, but that's where I got this story information from. So there you go. Finally, my final story is gaming's toxic men explained. Yeah, please, writer, please explain toxic men. Colin Campbell, thank you so much for explaining toxic men. I greatly appreciate that. There's a few things for this. So this is a massive article that details a lot of research, but a lot of the research comes from women. Now, again, I don't have a problem with the research coming from women, except that a lot of these women are self-professed feminists. They are in feminine study fields, media fields, and again, they self-profess to be feminists. One of them is Anita Sarkeesian, among a lot of other people who have had some very, very shady past and dealings. They have a big chip on their shoulder. They're extremely biased against men. So to say that this is an unbiased article, no, it's not. Just because you have a ton of research does not mean that it can't be biased. This is, again, not extenuatingly peer-reviewed. Not every single person here has published articles in the medical news journal. They don't have things that would be published in universities. Well, yes, some of them are doctor candidates. Some of them are PhD candidates. Not every single one of them are. So don't get wrapped up in this thinking, oh man, they got so much research. They got so many people here talking about toxic men, and this must be true because they're all candidates. They're all university professors. They're doctors. No, Anita Sarkeesian's here. Anita Sarkeesian. Awful. Absolutely awful. So, the point of this is basically, why are men so toxic against women? I mean, I get on to a multiplayer game in an open chat room. I'm probably going to be called some racial slurs and some homosexual slurs. I'm probably going to be put down multiple times because it's shit talk. And I shouldn't really have to tolerate that. I agree 100%. But there's a mute button. There's a block button. I also don't have to put my headset on. And if I find shitty people, I can always just click the report button and I can report their asses to Xbox. I can report their asses to PlayStation. So it's not a big deal to me. Toxic men, report them and get them banned. The best way to learn from toxicity, the best way to learn from being a shitty person is when you sign on to your Xbox and you're suspended for 7 to 30 days to permanently because of your shitty behavior. It is not putting out articles on how awful men are.
That is one big pile of shit.
These are people who are raised in different parts of the country who act really, really crappy because of how they were raised and their nature, possibly. There's a lot of factors that go into becoming a racist, a sexist, a homophobe, and things like that. Education is the best way to defeat this. And again, I believe the best teacher is pain. And what's more painful than having to go buy an entirely new Xbox or give up those years you've poured into your Xbox account or your PlayStation account? So that's a lot of time you would have to give up just so you could be a little bit shitty to someone. So there you have it. That's this episode of News You Missed. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, please leave me a big thumbs up and let me know with a like and a share. You can go ahead and leave me a thumbs down and let me know what I can do better in the future to do better with these stories. You can always subscribe. I'm on the road to 1 million subscribers. I'll be there with you, ladies and gentlemen. 1 subscriber really helps. So don't doubt your power as an individual. So see you guys in the next one. There's not much else to say. As always, good gaming. God bless, and thanks for watching. Take it away, N-Card Slate.